here they are. And by the way, they did roll the die off screen, and it is Andrea who won it. And I think that's a huge deal.
Yeah.
Especially because this deck, obviously, by playing both Gozen and Skill Drain, is amazing at going first. And it's even less weak against Ash Blossom and Bell, as we have seen yesterday.
Yeah, exactly. I think it is one of those decks that is really annoying to playing against, especially because he's main decking 3 copies of Gozen Match alongside 3 Lava Golem.
Yeah.
So basically, either going first or going second, the deck has a lot of potential. And as you mentioned, it's not playing, you know, the new cards such as the Stone, the Chandaglia. So
Yeah.
it's just relying on, you know, the good old days, set 4 and pass.
And that's exactly what we're seeing here. It reminds me a lot of the deck list that actually won the Swiss national champion earlier this year. And it seems like he took some heavy inspiration, but Prosperity, nice way to start things off, especially because, spoiler alert, he's main decking RP's Feather Duster.
Yeah, as Diego.
Exactly. So if he has to find it here, that would be devastating.
Yeah, I mean, that would be incredible. And let's see now what Marco reveals, if Andrea will allow this.
The Feather Duster would be amazing. Let's take a look at these 6 cards. Obviously Kashtira, and the 6th, no, a whiff. So could even be an Ash Blossom if he already has access to his engine, just to shut down the welcome trap cards.
And that's what he has. I think it makes sense, especially because in this kind of matchup, I mean, just preventing your opponent from summoning, you know, the Lady Labyrinth is a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes the win condition against this kind of decks, when you cannot out, you know, Skill Drain, goes a match, is to just cut them off and win with life points. So no Skill Drain, though, and not even an answer. Wow. He has so much that he can do here. He has playing Daruma Cannons, Dogmatica Punishment. What are these 4 face downs?
So I expect
Gozen, maybe.
Yeah, I think he must be holding Gozen. Maybe also he's on 3-dimensional barrier in the main deck. But okay, Marco just swings, enters by face. I think it makes sense, especially maybe he wants to see whether Andrea has multiple copies of either Big Welcome or Welcome Labyrinth.
He's also going to be able to just activate the effect to get rid of a card from the extra deck. Not that it matters much. Yeah, so seems like Andrea will allow it. But here comes a Welcome Labyrinth. Should be an Ash Blossom from Marco, and there it goes. Do we have the big welcome as well?
Seems he doesn't. Wow.
And he just passed.
Yeah.
Did he pass? Because I saw him draw a card.
Yeah, Marco passed and Andrea drew, right? So it's...
Wow. Very surprising start from both players.
Really curious to seeing the thought behind, you know, Marco's play on just leaving the Unicorn. What it will be worth mentioning is that maybe these players were, you know, neighbors at the tables before, and maybe Marco had the chance to see.
Yeah, but at the same time, even if you get Goten, you can try and play it out.
Exactly.
So very interesting play from Marco. And only another face down from Andrea, really looking into this big Welcome Labyrinth. Let's see if there is a response. A newly top-decked Skill Drain would be nice. But Marco playing it slowly, gonna search both. So now he has both the Theosis and the Birth. And that's exactly what's going on. Still curious to why he didn't go for Theosis.
Maybe he's entering Battle Phase once again, or... Let's see what he decides what to go for.
And yeah, just enters battle phase, attacks once again with the Unicorn, really taking it slowly. here from Marco. Interesting approach. Wow, and a compulsory activated on the unicorn. This is pretty awful, but at least it sets your welcome back for next turn. I'm wondering whether it was worth using it now, because why did we not do this in the end phase?
No, exactly. Yeah, you're just doing the
Last
end phase.
turn.
Yeah.
Maybe the emotions getting to Andrea. Cannot blame him. You're up against the runner-up from last year. And double prosperity is something you don't see every day, probably just banishing free, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Makes you wonder what he might be looking for. We know it. That's RP Feather Duster.
Yeah.
But you can only afford to banish free, I believe.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, he's considering it.
And that's exactly what's going to happen. Banish just free. Let's see if he finds it. Not quite. Whiff. Can get the Rise Art, maybe. Yeah. Best cards among those. And as you mentioned, Marco is playing card by card the same deck list as Diego.
Yeah, I mean, they, funny enough, after last year national championship, they became teammates.
Yeah.
Testing together, and I think they also work with Gianluca, who we previously saw in our round 3 feudal match. And I mean, the list is working out well. Diego as well is still in with a 7-2 record, so
Yeah.
maybe we will see him again on stream.
And yeah, as expected, there is a Gozen match from Andrea, which can significantly impact this game 1. Obviously, you much rather have a Fenrir on field.
Yeah. And I mean, we've mentioned this before. Not really expecting the Ghost match, especially because Light Labyrinth has slightly changed over the past few weeks. But still, Ghost match makes it work out well. And here comes the pot of prosperity from Andrea. This will be very useful because in this situation you're looking for something, because basically the compulsory evacuation device was like needed because it didn't have anything going on.
Let's see what he can pick up from the deck. Ooh, skill drain is nice, worst case scenario. Maybe I would have liked the welcome activated first, just to check whether your opponent has another Ash. But yeah, big welcome is obviously a super good card off the top. But it just, you know, gives your opponent more information, while I think I would have used the set welcome right away. And this is looking very promising, actually, for Andrea. Here it comes, as expected. And we might have another Ash, but now, as you see, Marco not really impressed. We're going to summon Lady from the deck, which can attack over the Unicorn, and then sets even more trap from the deck. Such a strong card. A way to prevent this could be a Book of Eclipse. Remember, Marco is on 6 books, both the full copies of Book of Moon and Book of Eclipse. And let's see if we are using Eclipse now.
Yeah, he's considering it. Honestly, you're not sitting in a good position because the Gozen match, of course, hurts a lot. And, I mean, you're really trying to fetch for the Feather Duster, because...
Okay. Just a face down and pass. Not going to be able to use the Labyrinth Lady right away, but we know that with the back of set down, you can get the Lovely from the deck. And I don't really like this Eclipse all that much, but maybe there is a Feather Duster off the top to swing this game around.
There's not. No. Okay.
Just the Fenrir. And again, this is pretty useless alone. Gonna search his deck maybe for another Unicorn or for a Scarecrow Kashtira. Instead, it's another Fenrir. I think here you can wait it out as long as they enter battle phase. Now we can see a birth maybe to normal summon the second Ferrier, which could be an interesting play. I think I would like it.
Yeah. I think it makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's a great play here. And yeah, Marco acknowledges it because basically they can for sure get rid of one Ferrier, but if they cannot get rid of the second Ferrier, then exactly, you have an out to the Gozen. So now at the beginning of the battle phase, Andrea can use the big welcome to get the lovely and destroy one of them, but then he needs a way to deal with the second one.
You can tell Andreas taking a big think on this. Not sure whether he might be having, for example, a dogmatica punishment. He's just taking his time to think about it. Yeah.
And he doesn't go for it, so obviously the Gozen is gonna get rid. Oh wow, but impermanence is enough. And obviously his opponent can just use the Eclipse to make it resolve and banish away the Gozen. And this gives him some significant chances to fight back. At the same time though, now both Fenris are face down, which means that when he summons the Unicorn, Andrea can just use the set big welcome. But maybe there is an Ash, because Marco was thinking about this. And it wouldn't surprise me to see an Ash Blossom come down. Is there an Ash from Marco? There is. So, as expected, he was thinking about it, and this changes a lot.
Well played by him.
Very well played by Marco. And yeah, you can see Andrea really shaking his head here. He knows that this game was close from being won, and now, yeah, he's just asking what impermanence was activated, in which column, and it is the middle one.
Yeah, I mean, good recognition from Marco. Basically understood that the Ash Blossom was better to be kept rather than to be activated before. And here, basically, let's see if now with the Theosis we'll be able to bring on the field the Arise Heart.
He also has the Rise Heart in hand,
Yeah.
which is great regardless, even without the Theosis. So he can do so much, and exactly that's what he's going for. Let's see if there is a response from Andrea. Maybe even a Daruma could be nice. But he doesn't seem happy with the situation. And I think we are gonna see the Theosis come down. Is there a response? Again, Daruma would be really nice. No response. And this can allow him to special summon the other Unicorn from deck. And honestly, what you can do is even just use the Riser, but there is a dimensional barrier. Wow, this is actually really good.
Yeah, because at least for this turn, basically, Marco will not be able to XYZ summon, and
he can just banish the top three from the deck, and then Andrea gonna be able to draw a card from the Eclipse.
I mean, still not an easy spot from Andrea, who is basically left with the Lady Lamprey on the field.
No, but could have gone worse.
Yeah.
And yeah, top three cards are banished off the top. I think Andrea has no cards in his hand.
In play is back to him, but in the end phase, for the Eclipse.
Gonna draw a card off the Eclipse and then draw one for turn. And now let's see if he can break this field of 5 Kashtira monsters from Marco. Not impossible, but definitely
Doable.
gonna be tough. Especially because this version of the deck obviously doesn't run the level 2, so it cannot access Chaos Angel really easily. And you know, one of the powerful things about Kashtira is that the birth stays there, so
Yeah.
every single turn it can special summon something back. Yeah, I think he's just gonna attack over something. Do you even attack the Fenrir maybe, or the? I mean,
it's
I think
not an easy
either
decision, but I
Fenrir
think Fenrir,
or Rise.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the Rise is the only one, but the Fenrir is the scariest one. And just one face down. Wow,
So I guess it's.
this is very tough.
Does he have 2 monsters in his hand?
Yeah, it could be honestly
no.
either another lady or the lovely,
The
which
Lovely.
will be really bad because he didn't even go for wannabe.
Exactly.
So maybe the Dronle lock, he's playing just one copy in the main deck, which is really strange. But yeah. Wow, this is brutal from Marco. Very well execution throughout the turn, but it seems like now he's just so ahead of his opponent.
Yeah, because now it is getting out of control with all these pluses from his Kashtira monsters. And let's see if he will be able this turn to seal the game.
Yeah, I mean, Kashtira have so much, and outside of obviously a Rise Art, which alone is Labyrinth enemy number 1, you have cards like Big Eye, you have Dark Armed. Obviously, you have to remember that the lady at the moment is protected by this face down, cannot be destroyed or targeted. But even just a Rise Art seems insane here.
Yeah.
Potentially. The only thing is there is a big welcome in the grave. So now maybe Marco could forget about that because you cannot target the lady. And what Andrea can do is just banish the big welcome to get rid of the Rise Art. And this is exactly what's going to happen. So now he can chain, but only on the face down. Makes sense. And let's see what this face down card is. Response from Andrea. This last card is really important, and it's welcome, which is nice because then you get to use the lady and gets protected once again. And if there is a lovely in the deck, this is actually not that bad. Is there really the third Ash? That's insane. Okay, no. Allows it, so a set Daruma, Cannon, and then it doesn't really need to shuffle, it needs to special summon. Yeah, the welcome goes banished to face down.
Yeah, here they're just having some clarifications on whether it should be banished or not for the Rise Art.
The welcome should be banished and he needs to resolve as well the welcome.
But here they're just figuring out, once the welcome gets activated, it needs to resolve, then it needs to get banished, so it comes Ariana. Yeah, and then it gets banished. Correct. Yeah.
Banish face down.
Because the Rise Art was there. Yeah.
Did he go for Rihanna or no? So as you can see now, after the chain resolves, finally the ferry is flipped back and it can activate the theosis. So now they're just gonna take some time to quickly fix the timer as they had to stop to fix the play. It was a long chain and they had to make sure this resolved. Yeah. As you can see, Andrea just showing all of the effects that went through. He probably added another lady, I want to assume, which means the lovely should be in the end.
I think so, because basically it was very weird because like before he just went attacks at one pass.
Yeah.
And he didn't even have the lava golem, for example. So we have to assume that either one of the two cards in hand must be a lovely.
Absolutely.
Still, don't really understand what might be the other one because he never activated it. So it's maybe another labyrinth, Lady Labyrinth.
Yeah, unless it's another pot which you had to choose between, but yeah. Let's take a look again. The situation is definitely now looking more favorable towards Marco. He lost a lot of resources, but he can still do so much because he haven't used his birth to special summon or normal summon, and that gives him access to a lot of different plays. Even going for the Dark Arm would be nice, banishing the Theosis to get something back, for example.
Yeah.
And yeah, play is back to Marco now that they are fixing the timer. And yeah, I mean, if I had to take a guess, I would still give the advantage to Marco for this game.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, of course, like the big welcome would have saved Andrea, but of course, I still see this one going for Marco's side.
Yeah, it's too much advantage at the moment. Let's see if he will go for, okay, right away the Shangri-La, which means he can turn that into a easier Ice Art, because the one he summoned before was the properly summoned with 3 materials. And even the count in Andrea deck is getting lower, so funny enough, he could even go for something like a Diablosis to just mill him, because I'm sure he has so much. He has banished even with the Prosperity.
Yeah, with the Prosperity. There are a lot of cards that are, I think, been banished.
If Marco, which I think he can find game easily as well.
Yeah.
But I would like to see a, you know, just win condition, alternate win condition with the Diablosis. A deck out from Andrea.
I think it might not be something, you know, very far from.
No,
you know.
I think now he's going for the Dark Arm. Yeah. Dark Arm makes sense, can destroy 2 cards and then get back some resources by banishing the Theosis. All 3 copies in the graveyard. This has been a very long and grindy game. And what's good about this is that once Dark Arm gets rid of the face down, Lady finally becomes targetable, and you can even take it or banish it with the Ice Art.
Well played by Marco. Honestly.
Very well played by Marco, absolutely. Not a surprise that he made it to the finals last year, and he's trying once again to make it to the top cut and redeem himself.
Yeah, here comes the unicorn, and let's now see where Marsu wants to go with this, because also has this Scarecrow Kashtira, and it looks like as if he wants to seal the game right now. Here comes the Arise Art.
Yeah.
And I guess Battle Phase has been declared.
Great stuff, as
Yeah.
you can see here.
Well played.
He's gonna banish both, get some cards back with the Arise Art. And this is easily game, so very well played. There are no Nibirus in the deck for Andrea. And yeah, this is enough for game. But there is another lady, which can't save him, but he still hasn't used the Arise Art.
Yeah.
So he can just use the Arise Art, and that should be enough.
Yeah.
He has seen enough, and after a long 23 minutes game, it is Marco who takes game 1. Probably one of the longest game ones we have seen all weekend, but to be expected. Whenever you're up against the Labyrinth, you can get ahead. And still, although it seems at the beginning as if Marco had a very unique strategy, only summoning Unicorn, not doing anything else, it paid off, going for the slow game and getting rid of the Gozen match.
I mean, I think he played it out very well, especially because, like Andrea, started things off a little bit slower, but the Gozen match, honestly, was very convincing.
Yeah.
On the other side, we gotta give credit to Marco, who basically waited to activate the second Ash Blossom. And I think in that situation, was basically, you know, the game changer of the entire game.
Absolutely. But now it gets interesting because on the one hand, Andrea can solidify his going first, getting rid of cards like Lava Golem for the good old Solemn Judgment, alongside potentially the viruses.
Yeah.
So Epidemic Virus is a nice option against Kashtira. But on the other hand, I think Marco has some really nice tools, right?
Yeah, I mean, basically Sadek looks like the same one as Diego, as we mentioned, and he's playing Lightning Storms, which are very powerful. And then he's also playing, you know, something that's not super useful against, you know, this type of Labyrinth, which is the Triple Tactic Thrust. But I mean, in general, also there's the Ghost Bell, which
Ghost Bell for sure, one of the best cards against Labyrinth. A lot more against the other version, the Monster Heavy version, but still, Double Ash is what saved Marco in this game, and Bell would have been just as fine. So I think if he is really rational about this matchup, he's gonna take out the Shifter, which is much better against the other version, pretty useless against this one.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I think that in general, Marco, he's prepared against this type of matchup.
Absolutely. It seems Chill is the one who has been here already last year, but without further ado, our players are ready, so let's go back for game 2. Let's see, obviously, Andrea wants to set up. He needs just a welcome to get things going, unless it gets negated. And then, with a weird handshake. Obviously, you know it, but we got there, and now it's Andrea going first. Let's see if his hand is better. Obviously, want to start things off with a pot. Instead, it's the Ariana, which is just fine. No response from his opponent, and therefore you can search for the big welcome, most likely. Instead, it is the welcome, which could be an indicator that the big welcome is already in the hand. Otherwise, I would not explain it. And that's great because you can play better against either.
Ooh.
Oh, but
Wow.
this cannot be used. Wow. Wow, yeah. Maybe the emotions getting to Andrea. Extravagance and Arianna. Extravagance can only be used at the start. And what an unfortunate play from Andrea. Hopefully doesn't cost him the match.
Here comes the field spell being activated by Marco. And, you know, starting things off with extravagance might give you, you know, two
two
more
fresh cards.
So it's
That's obviously going to matter, but as mentioned, hopefully not as much. Marco gets the unicorn, which, again, if you already have the Ferrir, it's okay. Otherwise, it's kind of a surprise to me.
yeah, unicorn, it's the field, and no skill drain once again from Andrea.
And actually, kind of surprising that he didn't go for anything.
Yeah. Looks like once again, I think he doesn't even have a Gozen match.
No, because if you have both, wow, no response. I mean, because you have both the welcome and the big welcome. Yeah, I think you can see the frustration from Andrea, unfortunately. I mean, playing on stream is never easy. We said it time after time again. And if during day one, maybe it's somewhat doable, now there is a huge crowd watching live. It's not for everyone.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the tension sometimes can make this, and I mean, let's see if we can turn this around. Marco, I think, declared battle phase.
And he actually activates the effect of Ferrir, which he's gonna answer with a Gozen match, getting rewarded in a way because his opponent already used the Ferrir, and therefore gonna redeclare an attack, and now you can use the welcome.
Yeah.
I'm really not sure about this sequence from Andrea, if you ask me. Because those two face down should be welcome and big welcome.
I mean, expect them to be, no?
Yeah. Is there an Ash? There is an Ash, and now there should be a big welcome. Instead, it seems as if that's all they had for, which means Andrea gets rewarded. At least now he can finally use his pot, and there might be another
I
Ash.
think he has another one, right? I mean, I still don't get. I think Andrea. I mean, yeah, there's another.
Wow.
One. Wow.
Again, double Ash from Marco.
This hurts so much, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there is another Arianna, and this time the order is correct. At the same time, Ferrir can now get rid of the Gozen,
Yeah.
which is huge. And just like in game one, you can see Marco's strategy that is taking advantage of the +1 that the Ferrir, even without going into XYZ's offer.
Yeah.
And this is exactly what's going to happen here. Two face downs from Andrea, and play is back to Marco, who again is able to go for card advantage after card advantage. Is there a skill drain?
There's no.
No. And this is brutal. So much advantage coming towards Marco way. Normal summon of a unicorn. Is there a response? No, again, wow. Marco making it look easy, honestly.
Yeah.
Against two hands that were pretty strong from Andrea.
And I think, yeah, that misstep at the beginning with the extravagance, this is what might cost him the game.
Absolutely.
Honestly.
At the same time, maybe Marco drew into double Ash.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't have mattered. But it does in terms of tension, I think. Let's see, Andrea is considering his plays. Taking his time. Once again, there should be a set big welcome since he went for Arianna. And I still don't get why he went for the welcome instead of the big at the very first turn.
I mean, still don't really get this.
Let's see if he's gonna flip it right away. You can see Andrea really taking his time. And this is sometimes the difference. But is there a bell or an ash? Wow,
Yeah,
a bell to stop. And yeah, that's just too good if you're Marco.
And we've seen this also yesterday with Eclerdo against Labyrinth,
Yeah.
activating a double ash and also double bell.
But again,
There's
a
a barrier,
barrier,
yeah,
which is
but,
kind of a desperate play. Marco is completely comfortable. Now he's pretty much on a +5 at the moment. And he can even go potentially for game easily. Gonna use the effect to special summon, and this is plenty of damage to seal the match.
I think he enters battle, and that's
And
it.
that's it.
Yeah.
Swift 2-0 victory from Marco.